Good evening, everyone. Michael here, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well and safe. It is the 19th of February 2024, part 11 of the 172 Foxtrot Rebuild. When we left off at the very long part 10, we had just finished up with the seat installation and getting the roof panel installed. Moving along today, hopeful to have the pilot door interior panel installed along with the rear interior panels. One thing I noticed while I was going through the VOD from our most recent flight was that the GoPro camera was actually at too high of an angle, and what that was doing was throwing off our appropriate line of sight to maintain symmetry. So what needs to happen is, instead of the GoPro sort of looking down, the whole thing needs to come down and look more forward as far as how the lens faces the simulator itself. So that's something that I'm hoping to be able to accommodate here towards the later part of the stream. But the one thing I do want to focus on is getting the pilot door panel installed on the door, as well as the rear interior panels, possibly the GoPro location, and if we get all that stuff done in a reasonable amount of time, then we'll look at getting the rear display in. So, but I do want to again welcome you all in. Let's see, where do I want to begin here? Just due to the time constraints and things of making some of these new panels, like the concept is the same as when I did the rooftop panel in part 10. So off camera, I went ahead and did the initial cutting and all of the preparation, well, most of the preparation, and I want to kind of show you again how this is essentially put together. It's a very, very simple. This is 1/4 inch MDF board, and what I have in here in between this marine grade vinyl is a cottony type substance called batting. It comes on a roll. You can get it in various thicknesses, but conveniently it's just over 4 feet wide, so it covers just a little section of the roll. 10-inch section covers top to bottom of our fuselage. So the roll itself, it has lasted me a while. In fact, this is remnants of what's left over from when I first originally built it. So it does come with quite an amount of quantity. So let's go ahead and button these up. I left both of these undone just to kind of show you again how they're constructed. 1/4 inch MDF wood. Got that batting material that's just cut to fit of whatever your panel may be, and it's just simple marine grade vinyl cut just a bit wider and taller for whatever your panel is, and all I do is fold the edges over and staple it in. It's not fancy, it's nothing spectacular, but it gets the job done, because once you screw that to your frame, you're not going to see any of that. The 1/4 inch staples used, by the time they go through the initial layer of vinyl, and then your 1/4 inch MDF, and then your batting, and then you're not feeling, any of your hardware that you use to put this together. But conveniently, I happen to leave my staple gun in the other room, so if you would just bear with me and let me go grab that, and I will be right back with you. They don't like it when you drop them. And then again, I just left this top edge undone just to kind of show you the construction of it. And again, I'm just going to fold the edges in and just kind of fold it over here and staple it down. I'm going to start in the middle and work my way towards the edge, just like I do with all of these. And the reason I do it like that is because it helps me to pull the material and keep it kind of tight. I guess you could start at one end and work your way towards the other. I just found it easier to start in the middle. Personal preference, I guess. And that's it. And then this panel, and then we have one for the other side. It's going to go on the inside here and cover this back half of our fuselage. If I didn't want functioning doors, we could put some ultra-wide displays in there and then open that view up for passengers, but I'd rather have the functioning doors because we're still going to have 360 degrees of view. They're just going to have to climb over the seats. No, that doesn't really happen, does it? Okay, this one's done. Let's go ahead and button up this one. Again, same deal, just kind of folded it over the edge like you're wrapping up a present. I've found that the more material you have left over at the end, the harder it is to kind of fold and get a nice clean layers where it doesn't feel very bunched up. I just kind of pull the corners in. That way there's nothing really protruding past the edges here. M. Stein, welcome on in, my friend. Hello. Hope you're doing well. Okay, there's our interior panels, or rear panels. And then because of the amount of disassembly, B. Payne, welcome back. Pleasure to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hope your weekend went well and that you had a good Monday. Hope everyone had a good Monday. Because of the amount of disassembly required to, get the pilot and co-pilot door panels down to MDF, I went ahead and did all of that off of camera, but I haven't done anything as far as installing it because I want to kind of show you a difference here. This is our original interior door panel. This is the co-pilot side, but this is the panel. Kind of the same construction, MDF. We've got that batting in there, and then just kind of folded it over. It's the original panel. This is the new pilot door panel based on the actual measurements from the plane. So as you can tell, there is quite a significant size difference. So as you might imagine, by positioning those displays based on those measurements, imagine how much more realistic and accurate everything looks to me when I'm sitting in there now, because I put myself in that 3D model. That's exactly what I did. So, that being said, what we need to do is hope that I measured everything right and that we can get it screwed up on there. Just because I measured it just narrower than the actual frame. That way you know, that we don't have any sort of overhang, or you know, the door panel slightly larger and then now it's rubbing our door frame, whatever the case may be. So I cut the MDF slightly smaller, so hopefully with the, you know, the combined tolerance of wrapping that vinyl around it, we're gonna fit within our opening. The you know, the windows are a bit tighter than the actual displays, and that's simply for me to hide the bezel. Yeah, I measured it to where, you know, I'm covering up just a little bit of LCD, but that keeps the bezel out of sight for me. Yeah, just a preference thing. So I'm going to switch over to the GoPro camera that's in the cabin and point it to the pilot door, and we'll take this over there. I'm going to turn some extra lights on here. Hey Google, turn the hangar lights on. Alright. So I'll switch over to the GoPro, we'll point towards the pilot door, I'll bring that panel over, kind of hold it up in place, and see how everything looks. If it looks alright, grab a couple of screws and we'll screw it in. And then what we're going to have to do, once it's screwed into place, is, you know, our door pull handles now. I've taken that one back off, but I'm going to have to come in from behind where the hole is in our 2x4 for our door handle that we tapped out for a 1/2 inch bolt. So we're going to come in from behind, at least with a smaller bit, drill a hole. We already got the hole drilled in our 2x4. We just got to drill through this, but we're using that as a guide as opposed to trying to go blindly from the front. And we just need to poke through, because once I'm poked through, then I want to go in from the front, so that not to capture our vinyl with a large drill bit, and that's really going to shred it up. So I'm hoping to just poke through with a little 1/8 inch bit or something, and then use the X-Acto knife and just kind of slice around it to get my bolt to go through. That way we don't accidentally, you know, have a Texas twister with the vinyl. And for cost containment purposes, of course, I did reuse the original vinyl in batting. I had to, you know, trim quite a bit off. You know, the opening, you know, it stayed the same. So I mean, I essentially just I repurposed it, and you can kind of see where I would have to cut. You know, because there was no point in trying to redo this, because we already did this, and we had plenty of material not to have to move it. So, that being said, let's go hang this and discuss a little bit about the door pocket and debate whether I want to reuse the one that I already have made, and I'll tell you why here momentarily. But let me switch over to this other view, and let's see if we can get this thing hung up there. We may end up loosening up our monitor bracket just a little bit to allow for some adjustability, per se. You know, I don't want to take it completely off, but I do want to give it a little bit of wiggle room. So just loosen it up back there. And then that monitor is now, it's recessing back down into this frame, which is kind of what I want. And then I'll just, snug this up to where it's, secure with. Hello there. Until it's secure with the door there. So if measurements are right, I kind of start at this corner, screw, all the way down, feeling good. Because remember, I don't want anything sticking out to where it's going to rub, the door frame when we go to close it. But since we did our measurements just slightly smaller, we had that stacked tolerance with the vinyl on there. I think it worked out just fine. Okay, let me grab some screws. And again, per previous discussion, always best to kind of start a hole for your, into your vinyl so that something doesn't accidentally capture it. And, I guess if you were doing it by hand, it's not so bad. I don't want to put all these screws in by hand. Okay. Phillips bit is not there. Here's the screws. Where is... I just had that bloody thing. Let me just go grab another one. Bear with me, I shall be back. Wintech, hello my friend. Magnets is a good idea. They would have to be pretty sturdy magnets. I mean, they're not light panels by any means. I have some pretty sturdy magnets at work that hold some pretty interesting things, but they're just too thick. That would add an extra ½ inch between the frame and our panel. Let's see. I'm just going to start a couple along the top. Make sure everything looks good before I go around the perimeter of everything here. Sometimes you may have more than one layer of vinyl to go through. It's just kind of and you'll feel it. Okay. I'll get one more over here in this corner, make sure we're square all the way around. Careful that you don't accidentally pull all your stuffing material out. I think it'll be fine. I see a bit of a gap towards the top here, but you know what? When we put our outer skin on the outside of the panel, it'll actually come up past the door frame. It'll come up past the door frame and it'll capture the body so that there's no ambient light that's going to come in from the outside. If you back them off just slightly, it gets rid of that little twist in the vinyl there at the very end. Okay. I'm going to run a couple down to the sides and the bottom, because I don't think this will have to come back off. Let's see, we can do the door handle with this on here. We can do door panels or door pockets with this on here. So yeah, I see no reason why we can't just send everything home. Let's go down here. Remember, we got a bar that goes all the way up and down. Do 4 along the sides. And I'm always drilling one hole, putting one screw in. That way you don't run into the possibility of your wood slightly shifting on you. As you're making your way around. Just because I'm OCD, I'm going to go and grab my T-square and make sure that I'm even all the way across, even with the screws across the doors. Okay, so I can kind of come up here. Close enough. then the bottom's going to be the last section to get these screws. Again, this just kind of helps me to ensure that it's being screwed down evenly. That's what makes sense in my mind anyway. It looks to be about in the middle. These are existing holes here, and they are hitting wooden frame, so I'm going to go ahead and utilize those. Oh yes, I'm just fine. Alright, somehow, let's see. Oh, I can reach it. Maybe. There it is. Just had to capture that, you know, those monitor support bars. Okay. I want to put one. Yeah. My monitor support bars are right here. I think I want to put one about right in the middle, because I can hear this panel hitting that. Plus, it's going to help keep everything square in the door. But since these are going to be new holes, let's just ensure that we're square with our support. And let's just make them even with the other ones here. How about that? Looks good. Right about there. Well, this one I should be able to reach. If your wood doesn't draw together the first time, back that screw out and hit it again. 14 screws. That ought to hold it. And now I don't hear any rattling in the door. Because when those butt kickers hit, it can rattle. And now what I'm going to do is grab... Hey, I found that Phillips bit. I'm going to grab a hand driver and we're going to screw that monitor wall back in place by hand. Once I find the Torx bit that I just took out of it. Phillips. Thank you. I know it's right where I left it. Where did I leave it? Let me go get another one of those things. I'm glad they come in a pack of 10. Alright. Oh man, I forgot the hand driver out there. Wintech, I appreciate the kind words. I really do. Yeah, I thought it was an excellent first flight. We had 0 equipment failure, and I do thank you again for your input on that GNS unit, or GTN unit. Alright, let me go grab my hand driver. And the reason I'm using a hand driver in this critical step is because I want to feel if this display is getting too tight up against, up against the interior panel. Because we don't want to have too much pressure on it. So that feels like it's going up against the shim without issue. So I'm going to snug it up here. And what I'm doing here is I'm essentially loosening up our monitor wall, what we hang our monitor on. We wanted to ensure that our display wasn't getting crushed in there as we tightened it up. But it is tightening up against the shims just fine. I don't feel any snapping, cracking, or popping. Now that doesn't mean I'm going to use the impact driver for the other side. I'm going to do it in this exact same fashion because, you know, if I'm a 1/16 of an inch off, it doesn't take much to possibly crack one of these LCDs. Okay, so now that that's tightened again, I'm going to open the door back up. See how we're looking here? I think that'll work out just fine. As I said earlier, I don't want to drill a 1/2 inch hole through this vinyl and get all that caught up. So again, we're just going to kind of poke through the back into the inside. And then I'm going to come in on the inside. And I'm going to cut that opening up so that we can feed this bolt through to get our handle in place. Not sure if I poked through or not. I thought I did. I can definitely feel. Yeah. All right. I'm through the MDF and I'm through the batting material. I can feel where the batting is starting to poke through, or kind of twist up in there. So I'm stopping there. And what I'm going to do is come in from the back now with my 1/2 inch bit. And I want to get through that MDF, but not get through the vinyl, which is going to be fun. I'm going to grab the bit. And drills over here. I don't want to go too fast and poke all the way through. In fact, I think it might be beneficial for me to use a bit in between my pilot hole and that 1/2 inch bit. So I'm going to grab this 3/8 and throw it in here. Yeah, it's going to be right in there somewhere.
Cleveland approach, Skyhawk 75746.
Skyhawk 75746, I took my...
75746, we are at 4,523 miles to the northeast of KOSU. We'd like to pick up flight call 1 that, please.
I took my first solo in that bird.
303, 75746. Maintain VFR, proceed on course, 75746.
We have a hole in our vinyl now. See, that's what we don't necessarily want to happen. Be very careful.
Golden Road, Skyhawk 75746 has Delta, so out of base.
Okay. Since that hole's already pretty big, I'm just going to come in from the front here with my bit. Alright. Yum Dum, welcome to the channel. Thank you for the follow. Now, for the door handle, this is how I'm going to do this now that we have our 1/2 inch hole. I am going to have a washer in between the door handle that I tapped out for this 1/2 inch bolt. Well, technically this is this is 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch by 20. I wanted to use metric, but I couldn't find metric bolts at the local hardware store. But we are going to have a washer between the door handle and the interior panel, simply because you got less chance of sucking this, drawing this into the door panel. We have more area because the washer isn't going to fit over, this, where it would slide on to a GM door handle or door opening assembly. But I don't know exactly how many washers I'm going to need on the back. I measured it right. If I measured it right, I think I'm just going to need 1 lock washer and 2 on the back, and then 1 on front. So let's see how this fits out in there, and then we'll go from there. That'll work out just fine, because I don't want, I want to make sure that I can tighten it up to where it's not necessarily going to turn on me, which means I'm going to need to put another washer or 2 in there. And by in there, I mean on the back side of it. Okay. Alright, so now I have... I'm going to put 2 lock washers and 3 flat washers on it, because honestly they didn't have the exact size bolts that I needed, so I knew I would have to space it out. I just wasn't sure how much between the panel and the batting. Alright, now I can go grab a pair of pliers, which are out there in the garage. I'll be right back. And by pliers, I mean this adjustable wrench, because honestly I don't know what size bolt that head is anyway. But this will work good enough for us to hold it and get that door handle tight. And I want the door handle facing this way. Again, this is just for aesthetic purposes, to open and to essentially close this door. And it's not attached to any sort of latch or anything. It's just to essentially help pick this door up slightly and close it. Which is why I want to ensure that it isn't going to necessarily rotate on me. And I want to be able to close the door. Good enough. You see here, you can look here where my original door pulls were. They're actually going to get relocated up here to the A-pillars once we get that vinylized, which is not going to happen this evening. eBay is the place to go for gently used Cessna 172 parts. Now, let me tell you something. 1960s GM truck door handle pair, $20. 1965 Cessna 172 Foxtrot looks just like the same damn thing, $180 for one. Ask me how I know. But anyway, I think that'll work out just fine. What I may end up doing is grabbing a specialty type washer with points on it to maybe help dig into the wood a little bit better on the back side. I don't know, but it does exactly what I need it to do. Pulls the door open, closes the door. So that works there. I'm gonna get this door panel out of the way because this is gonna be a tomorrow thing. The door pockets are very, 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 very simple. They're just these bits of wood that I cut up out of that 1/4 inch MDF. They're about 1 inch wide. I just made them the size that I thought that I wanted it. Same thing. Folded it over and stapled it. At first, I was trying to use some duct tape here just to kind of smooth out, this transition, putting things in there, whatnot. What I found out, don't do that because heat and stuff over time, it just, for lack of a better word, essentially it's just slid off and left a bunch of gooey stuff. So I don't know if I'm going to reuse these or make new ones down the line. Haven't quite decided yet because these are quite tacky right now. But that is essentially the door pocket, or how it was previously. Let's get these side panels on, which means at least, well, for now, I'm going to have to relocate the GoPro. So right about there. And because I'm going to have to pull this crossboard off here to bolt those side panels up. My impact which side's which. I measured them both the same, I cut them both the same. What I'm hoping for is to be able to kind of come up slightly this way and still have good that'll work out great. Because I don't want to come past, well, I guess it really wouldn't matter if we would have come past on the inside. I can even help act as a bit of a little stop. Just kind of keep that seam nice and tight. Keep some light out perhaps. I think I could live with that. Which means I'm probably going to hold off on the co-pilot side one till tomorrow after we get the co-pilot panel up. For that very same reason, now that I'm thinking about it. Which means after we get this panel up, then we can move right along to some interior lighting. And we're using the same concept here. And then drill a small hole, screw the screw in. That'll work out just beautiful. Back it off again just a little bit. It gets rid of some of that twist that gets put on your vinyl. I'm going to get these two top ones in, make sure we're still looking good and square up against our door. And we'll run some more in. Just because I'm OCD, why not put them in the same line as the rest of them? I do want to thank everyone for coming in and hanging out this evening. I do apologize that it was a bit later start than normal. using those same screw lines all the way across. One of the YouTube viewers on my YouTube channel, he left a comment the other day. Really nice comment about the build, but moreover about the fact that he would be sad when it's all done. I can't not disagree, because I've really been enjoying this process. Moreover, sharing the process. But I think it's coming together beautifully. So, let's move along and discuss the cabin lighting. These are just LED red, green, blue color changing tubes. They are very, very, very inexpensive from Amazon. I think I paid $20 for them, and they last about $20 worth. I know that I think one of these sets was flickering the last time, in our last setup. So we may run into that, but I'm still going to give it a go. They are magnetic, so before I was able to just magnet them to the seat frames, they were entirely different seats. But doing that in this case puts them too close to our seat slider adjuster. So I think what I'm going to do is just zip tie them to our wooden frame, and I'll just drill in our 2x4, a hole here and a hole here. That's going to allow me to run a zip tie through and just zip tie them there. They're going to be just kind of out of sight down there on the frame. I'm not going to worry about them getting kicked or anything like that. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. I'll try and get the GoPro camera there. We're going to have to go in from the bottom here. Well, I guess that'll be kind of alright, I suppose. Alright. Let's make sure these are scooted all the way back so I have room to work. They plug into this base module thing. I'm just going to unplug each light. It's going to help me to work with it and get it installed. And you use a slightly larger drill bit, and I'm just going to hold them up there. Drill a couple small holes. vacuum a mess, I can tell you that much. Okay, let me go grab some zip ties. I don't know why I didn't do that to it earlier. Alright. I'm going to start my zip tie from the back side. That way the notch part is behind the frame for no reason, just so it doesn't poke anybody. And I'm just going to go ahead and get them barely started. It's just going to help me to hold everything in place here. That'll work out. Where are those cutters? They are. Alright, now we can move over here to the other side. Melvin Leroy, hello my friend. Hope you're doing well. I'm gonna try not to make anybody sick. You know what? About 18 inches of usable space directly behind this pair of seats. Just saying. I didn't mean to push that button. Okay. There's the one. Right there. There's the other.
Okay, 1 Indian speed, then 4,000 marking 507.
And then we're gonna run them all the way through. Alright. Same deal, just gonna kind of barely start them. Let's just kind of help hold it and guide the light in place, and then I'll snug them up. Does make it a little bit difficult with the seats already bolted down. In hindsight. Okay. There are cutters. Like I said, Melvin, we got about 24 inches of usable space behind these two seats right now. Regarding your refrigerator. me go grab the vacuum so I can vacuum this floor mess up real quick. I'm gonna plug these lights in and see how it works out. I reckon that's good enough for now because I reckon it's going to get messy again at some point. Okay. For now, let's see. These run off of 5-volt USB into this hub that it comes with. So for now, I'm going to plug them into the hub, and then we'll plug the hub into the 12-volt USB and see how it works out. But for now, I'm going to run the cables underneath the seat frame into the back here. And I'm going to run the USB from the back up to the front and plug it in to the dash. Statistically, I have a 33% chance of plugging a USB in correctly the first time. Okay. Let's grab this remote control. Maybe that's the wrong remote control. Grab this remote control. working. How about that? Uh-huh. Let's fire up X-Plane. Melvin, I'm taking that as a compliment, my friend. These are our 172 sun visors. 172 by when I say 172, I really mean Cessna 310, but 172. They came out of a Cessna 300 series. I want to say it was a 310. I could be wrong. I probably am wrong, because that doesn't sound correct to me. This is the co-pilot one. You may as well throw these up in there while we're thinking about it. And what we're going to do is load up directly on the runway at Morrow County, my home airport, and we're going to see where we need to position this GoPro camera for the best vantage point. These are going to get mounted with something that's longer than what I've been using. Our visors get mounted with drywall screws that are about 1 inch long. We lose about an 1/8 inch as we go up through our bracket. So I'm going to go ahead and get these up in place. This isn't going to take long. And we're going to do the same principle. We're going to drill a small hole, and then we'll run our screw up in. Pilot 11223344, welcome on in. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate the compliment. Hope you're doing well. Shed a little light on the subject. I would just throw that remote away. I don't even have that light set anymore. What did I do with the other remote? get that thing. There you go. Right there on my desk. So we're gonna get these sun visors installed. We'll get a good vantage point for the GoPro. Figure out how to mount that, and then I'm gonna call it an evening. My wonderful girlfriend and I are going to attempt to clone some roses. It should be kind of fun and interesting, and a learning experience for all involved. Since we're in here, how's that audio? Any better? Anybody hear me better? Okay. The only reason I put that screw in there, it's a blind hole, it's not going into anything. However, I wanted to at least plug that hole up. So it kind of goes nowhere, does nothing other than looks a little bit better than a hole right there. Oops. Real quick pre-flight. Okay. What I'm gonna do is hold it up there, mark it. Make sure we grab the right one. Make sure that we're going to be screwing into our beam here. And all I did was just mark 2 holes. I'm going to make 2 pilot holes in the vinyl. We'll grab our first screw. Not tightening it all the way yet to like get the other one lined up. Alright, there's one. And it just so happens that the screw over, one of the screws over here originally that I used to hold the roof panel up will come out and get replaced with one of the longer ones, because coincidentally the hole in the visor mount happens to line up there. So I'm just drilling one hole on this side, taking this original screw out, and we're just going to replace it with this longer screw. I'll start with the hole that's already there. And I'm leaving it a little bit loose so that I can get this other one tightened up. There we are. How are we doing on time? Alright, good. Let me go ahead and let's just get everything fired up here so we can get a good accurate representation, and that'll give me a better idea as to what vantage point I need to do for this GoPro to provide you with the best experience. So that's what we're gonna kind of work on right now. What you just heard there was my angle of attack indicator that ran through Air Manager, but the display is not hooked up, so I just disabled that for now. Right now, let me just hold this down for now. Let's get this out of the way. Slightly, just move this guy. Okay. Close this. Alright. How about proper line of sight? Through the magic of immersive LCD, we can plug all these numbers in and program our views accordingly. But if you're too high, if your eye point's too high or too low, that immersion is totally broken. The key for me currently is to find out where I can put this GoPro to where the lens is at a perfect horizontal plane with the cabin, okay, that's kind of the sight picture I want to see. Barely the roof, the air vents. It's kind of what I want to see when I'm looking at my VODs. But we can see that at this exact point, our horizon line breaks. If we go up, I'm losing some of my floor area to make the horizon even. So it's all about how you hold and position your camera. So if I were to point this lens at a perfect 90 degrees, horizontal plane, about right there. But I don't like the real picture, I don't like our cockpit picture. I kind of want more of something like this. I like being able to see that emergency cutoff switch. So what I'm going to have to do is lower the eye point, I think. Or, yeah, so even just manipulating the camera angle, it's all about the eye point. Guess as long as the eye point is correct. And remember, I'm only hand holding this thing right now. But as long as the eye point is correct, looks like we can manipulate it just a bit. So what I would need to do is figure out where exactly this is in the cabin. I need to figure out a way to secure it. I'm going to have a tripod. I'm just not sure if I can somehow adapt this thing to a tripod. Because that would be ideal, because then I can move it up and down and manipulate it, as we see fit. So let me grab my tripod. Actually, I have this clamp. Maybe I could just clamp it to my tripod. That could work. I need a way to keep it fixed so that I can get a good measurement so that I could build a bracket for it. Okay, so this is a trusty Manfrotto. And what we'll do, we'll start it here with the legs all the way collapsed, and I'm going to attempt to clamp this heavy duty GoPro clamp to this head on my tripod here. But is that too far from... I'm just going to move it up here. Yeah, okay, so we definitely lose some side view if we're that far forward. me bring it back. And I guess it's not terrible, but I am going to have to. Okay, so that's still a bit too short, so I'm going to have to extend the legs. Alright, so I'm going to lower the center down, and then I'm going to extend the first set of legs, the heavier duty set. We'll see if that puts us too tall. Yeah, we're way too tall. Okay. Let's go to maybe halfway. We need to make sure that we are level. Okay, that looks good there. Okay. I don't think that's a terrible sight picture. If we were to point that down just a little bit. I gotta tighten this head on this thing. Okay, let's take. Okay. I could live with that. It's a little bit crooked there, huh? That's why it looks crooked. C Silveritin. Question was, did I test the new C172 XP? There's a Hawk available for XP12? I have not. I have not. I didn't even know it was out, available. And I tried working on my own 172 XP for X-Plane 11, but I let it die with X-Plane 11. Okay, I think I like that. I think we're still turned or yawed slightly to the right. I think I can still see a bit more of the right window than the left. And then what I do, I go as far as even physically measuring what I see on my screen, and I'm physically measuring it with a tape measure, and I have about 3.5 inches, quote unquote, of what I measured on my actual display that I'm looking at right now. 3.5 inches of bezel on the right side, and 3.25 inches on the left side. So you figure an overall width of 45 inches. That's not too bad. And if we can go, we'd have to split an eighth. Like we'd have to split a quarter of an inch. We'd have to split a quarter of an inch. What I see the left horizon looks really good. I do see a slight break on the right side. That right side display is just a little bit low. And so I think I'm gonna have to combat that. Okay, let me see here. Where is? Bear with me. Let me see if I can bring this. Okay. Okay, there's that. Okay. Yep. I think I'm gonna go into immersive LCD real quick and bring up that right side just slightly so that horizon lines up. And so it's going to require me to unwork the displays. It's Alt F4 out of here. So we noticed that our horizon line was down just so slightly on the right side when compared to the front and left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up my immersive LCD program. I'm going to open up LCD Designer, which is going to open up a program within this program. And then I'm going to import my current design, which I have saved locally. Left, my front, and my right. And then if I were to open I completely forgot I wasn't talking into this thing. I do apologize. So what we're looking at here is my current LCD design with the 3 displays only. And what we're going to do is select display number 3, which is the right one over here. And what I'm going to tell X-Plane is that its position Y, which is up or down, let's see, I have it at negative 5.4.38. So we want to move that horizon line up from where it was originally, which means that essentially we want to move the physical location of that display down some. So we're at minus 5.4.38, and it wasn't off by much. So let's just try 5.4. Let's try half. No, let's try a quarter inch. Let's try 0.2. 0.28. So 4.3, 5.363. So let's make that negative 5.688. Tab. Let's
going to shift that monitor physically down very, very slightly. I'm going to calculate this new viewpoint frustrum, which shifted that horizon line up just ever so slightly. Let me go ahead and save this, and then export this file. Okay. I'm going to go in here into Immersive LCD, and I'm going to select an external calibration, and that calibration is the one that I just did here. Each display gets its own external calibration file because it sends that information to X-Plane, and currently this one is the GTN 650, which is not going to be warped whatsoever. So we've got all of our calibrations loaded. We need to tell it now where to put these calibrations at and which display each calibration goes to. So I did that. All right. Let's reopen X-Plane and see how it looks. Alright, I'm just going to resume this last flight. This will put us right back on that runway where we were, which is where I find it easiest to calibrate the displays. And this is not our full tutorial. We will be doing a full tutorial because we are going to have to add that fourth display in when that time comes. So I'll treat it like we're adding a brand new display. And by seeing how to add one, you can add multiple. Alright, so here we are back on the runway here, 28 Morrow County for Indian Niner, and as you can see, it looks very, very weird. This is our unwarped calibration. This is what it would look like if we were to just plug these numbers directly into X-Plane without applying any sort of warping factor. But with the hotkey, we can enable the Windows warping, which warps all these displays to what we just programmed in there. And how do we look? It actually looks like our horizon did move up. Let me get a closer look over there at OBS and see how we're looking on the right hand side here. Alright, I think that looks really good. Yeah, I think that's good there. I saved that calibration. So yeah, everything's good to go. Looks even on both sides here. Alright, tell you what, time is it? I have time for one quick spin. We're not going to do any pre-flight. We're not going to do any sort of walk around right now. We're going to get in, start up, do a quick run up, and go. Once we check the winds and the weather.
Hey Google, turn the hangar lights off. Hey Google, turn the hangar lights off.
Eddie 250, field is in sight, 2175.
Alright, everyone, let's go ahead and do this real quick. Um, Marion's weather right now, winds out of 160 at 3 knots, visibility's 10, clear below 12,000, temperature -3, dew point -6, 3024 is the altimeter, 80% humidity. 160, so we have a very, very mild crosswind, no matter which direction we decide to take on. Well, we're right here at 28, so... be alright. Alright, what are we doing here? We're not doing a walk around. We've got plenty of fuel, I know that. Seatbelts, air vents, fire extinguisher, traffic and talking, exits, and if you have any questions. Seatbelts, air vents, fire extinguishers, exits, traffic and talking, and if you have any questions. Pave checklist, good to go there. Just a reminder, there is no smoking here in the aircraft whatsoever. If I find you smoking in my plane, I'll hope you brought a parachute. Okay. Alright, weather-wise, we're going to be good. Winds are very, very light. So go ahead and set our heading indicator to compass, which means let's go ahead and get our flight controls going here. Sorry, didn't mean to knock you over there. But this will give me a good, kind of accurate way to measure. Okay, let's get scooted up so that we can reach the flight controls. Let's go ahead and get buckled in here. Circuit breakers are all in. Alternate static air is in. Seat track, we're good to go. Avionics are off. Carpeets off. Mixture, let's get that full rich. Throttle slight. Let's get 4 in the primer. It's relatively cold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, primer is in and locked. Okay, master's gonna go on. Beacon going on. Clear prop. We are clearing the left, clearing the right, clearing the front. Nobody behind us. Uh-huh. Beacon mixture. Alright, brakes on. And mags to start. Here we go. Right away, looking for oil pressure and RPM. If I don't have either of those, I am shutting the engine down. Clear. Okay, let's go and get our landing light on, our taxi light on, our nav lights on, because ADS-B is tied into that. We are sitting here on the runway. Let's get our strobe lights on. Mixture is where it needs to be right now. Seat belts are on, flaps are up. Let's do a quick flap check, make sure we're good to go there. We're cycling all the way down to 40 degrees, looks like we are. And let's hold this flap switch to get it all the way back up to 0. We're going to vacate the runway. I'm going to go and connect it back to the network and go ahead and announce my pattern intentions. Parking brake's going to come off. We're going to do a quick 180 over here to the hold short line. Then we'll do a 180 back. Let me just tell you how much I am really loving this accumulated snow plugin for X-Plane 12. We do have snow that's kind of melting away from the trees and stuff. So it is really kind of neat. What I'm doing is I'm kind of following along in the VOD to see how things are kind of looking. Okay, strobes on. Let's go ahead and open up X-Pilot. Get our avionics on while we're waiting. Gosh, I really don't like the fact that it opens up all the way over here in this other monitor now after this latest update. And it doesn't remember the location that I move it to, which is really frustrating. This is my main monitor. Connect type 172, we are connecting the voice server. Continue. Let's go ahead and get on the Unicom. 122 800. Okay, there we are there. Alright, strobes are on. Oh, sure. I do want to give a big shout out to B Payne's girlfriend, Tiara. And so happy that you guys are taking time out of your evening to watch me. Okay, we're here, runway 28. Brakes are on, parking brake off. Okay, avionics are on, transponders going on. Let's squawk mode Charlie. Heading indicator to compass. Okay. Alright, trim. Set for takeoff. Flight controls down on the right, up on the left, down on the left, up on the right. Elevator and rudder, both true and responsive. Okay. Alright, let's do a quick run up. Left mag, there's an RPM drop right there. Back to both. Right mag, there's an RPM drop. Let's get back to both. Let's get our carpet on, look for an RPM drop. There it is. Let's bring our idle all the way back. Let's make sure that we can run an idle with the carpet on. Get back up to 1600, 1500, and turn our carpet off. Suction's in the green. Oil pressure, oil temperature right there. We are charging, got good fuel flow. Everything's looking good there. Temperature 0 degrees. That checks with relatively local weather. So that being said, let's go and bring the power back, check our throttle friction. Everything feels good there. Alright, here we go. Morrow County traffic, Skyhawk 8033 Foxtrot is taking runway 28 left closed traffic Morrow. Winds are at 160.
Approaching runway 28.
Right, airspeed is coming up. Let's keep that nose wheel planted just a little bit. There it is. Let's go ahead and rotate and let her fly. We are positive climb rate. I am going to be kind of trying to watch this, especially during the bank. I want to make sure that our horizon doesn't break, or if it does break, I need to figure out where and how I need to adjust the viewpoint. I'm looking for 1,800 feet or so. Alright, so I can see on the right side that we're starting to break. Okay. We'll have to deal with that probably tomorrow. For now, we're just going to take her home. But just so I can kind of have an idea. Morrow County, Skyhawk 8033 Foxtrot, left crosswind to downwind 28, full stop Morrow. Alright, I'm going to pause it there for just a minute. I want to wait for it to catch up just a minute here. I need to kind of see which way I need to go with the camera. Okay. So it looks like let's come up just a bit. Actually, I want to do that. Nope, I think that's even worse. Let's see what that does. Alright, I have unpaused it. We're back. Still think we're off. Alright, let's go ahead and slow our roll. We're coming in. Let's just go ahead and land 1-0. That's more into the wind. And we will teardrop in from this position. Cockpit's coming on for our descent. Yeah, that snow is pretty neat. I do want to thank everyone for coming in and hanging out for a bit this evening. We are going to do a full stop back here at Morrow County, and then I'll say good night. Morrow County traffic, Skyhawk 8033 Foxtrot is on a teardrop into the left downwind 10 Morrow. 500, that didn't seem quite right. Is my altimeter off? Alright, we're at pattern altitude 2100 feet. We are beaming the numbers. We're already going relatively slow. Cockpit's already on. I'm going to pull back about 1600. Give me flaps 10. 1000, 1000. Morrow County, Skyhawk 8033 Foxtrot. Left base 10, full stop, Morrow. And let's just trim for this descent. Let's go flaps 2. Morrow County, Skyhawk 8033 Foxtrot, left base to final approach 10, full stop, Morrow. Alright, fuel's on both undercarriage gear, it's fixed and welded, mixture's full rich, power setting, everything looks good. Landing lights on, seat belts on, clear to land, runway's clear. Okay. Let's go flaps 3. We got that wind coming out of 160. 80 mile per hour. Pitch up just a little bit. 75, much better. Let's transition. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Try not to land our plane. Fly it all the way through. Repeat off. Alright. Cross that line, looks good. Morrow County, Skyhawk 8033 Foxtrot, clear 10, taxi ramp. Let's It flaps up. Yeah, there's a bit more work than I need to do on the views, I can tell you that much. I don't want to put a whole lot of too much time into this particular um, calibration because we still have to add that fourth display back in. It's going to be one of the very last processes of the build because we kind of use this area right now to access things. And I need to figure out a way to secure it because before the cabin was wider and it was easier to brace, I think. So I need to figure out a new way to secure the back display. Strobes going off. Yep, there still needs some adjustments to be made. Alright. Parking brake on. All of our lights going off except our beacon. Avionics gonna go off. G5's gonna go down. Mixture lean, max off, master off, beacon off. Okay, well, I still think it was a good flight for what it was. Didn't have any hardware malfunctions. Everything seemed to work out alright. So let's head back to the hangar and we'll have to say goodnight.
Alright, everyone, that is it for this evening for me. I do want to thank each and every one of you for coming in and hanging out with me for a bit this evening. We got the pilot interior door panel up and the pilot rear panel. Then, now that the rear panels are done, that won't take, we'll have to do that. The only thing I'll have to do tomorrow when I get home is to cut this co-pilot panel down, and I'm going to do that before we go live. And then we'll go ahead and get these panels up. And the only reason I'm doing that is because it's very dusty, it's very messy. Cutting this MDF like that. So I just do it and then I'll just, like I did today. Have it already made, to where we can just bolt it up, screw it up. And then still got to work on GoPro location, and we'll get the instrument panel lights up inside of the glare shield there. So that is it for today. I do want to again thank each and every one of you for coming in and hanging out. So I do enjoy attempting to share this process with you. Um, so hopefully you enjoy it just as much as I enjoy doing it for you. So until tomorrow, I hope you all take care and stay safe and have yourselves a wonderful evening. And be Payne and Tierra, thanks again for coming in, watching. Pilot 11223344, Texas One Flyboy, thank you for coming in and hanging out. C. Silviera mentioned the new Cessna 172 Hawk XP. Let me open this link up here. And let me share this. Just uploaded. It's got the mixture, rudder trim. It's got the props, the constant speed prop. Could be a fun one to try out. It's got cow flaps too. Might have to bookmark this link. Okay. Yeah, I might have to look into that one. Melvin Leroy, thank you for coming in. Totally 78. And M. Stein, I appreciate you coming in as well. Wintech was in here earlier. So I do want to... Oh, man. Lost my camera. Let's see. There it is. Alright. Well, I apologize about that last minute camper malfunction. If I did miss anyone, I do greatly apologize. Iowa Scotsman, hello, my friend. But if I did miss anyone, I do apologize. But yeah, until tomorrow, hope you all take care. Have a wonderful evening. And we will see you then. Oh, yeah. Almost left you hanging. Let's see who we can go and raid this evening. Alright, we're gonna raid somebody brand new. Let's see. Let's see. Let me take a look at this channel, see what it's about. Alright, can't be that bad. I recognize a couple names in there. So we're going to go and raid Chili Maze. Can't tell you much about the channel, but let's go and say hello. And we will see you all next time. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.